Hello, this is Gav from IGN, and I'm joined by Greg Males from Rare. How are you doing, Greg?
I'm good, thanks.
What are we playing today? What is this?
A game I worked on a long time ago, Banjo Kazooie, all the way back from 1998.
1998. So how long have you been at Rare?
Me since 1989. So so I was 89 years in when I worked on this.
And what was it like working on something like this? Like, how did the idea come about?
We were working on an adventure game actually with a character. After we'd developed the Donkey Kong Country series, we wanted to take that graphic technology and do something different with it. So we started working on an adventure game, but it was very close to the end of the Super NES life cycle. So we moved across to the what became the N64 and carried on with this idea of an adventure. But it wasn't really going anywhere. It was probably overly ambitious. It just wasn't working out. And we started off with this boy character, which we iterated on, developed, and eventually became a bear character, which was Banjo.
Awesome.
He had a backpack because it was an adventure game, so he was going to put things in the backpack. And then when we decided not to carry on with the adventure game, we decided to kind of try a different type of like a 3D platformer. We liked Banjo so much, we thought, right, we'll take the character we really like out of the game that it's not really going anywhere, and we'll put it in something new. So it was kind of just like a happy marriage of things. So
where are we at the beginning then? So this
is right at the beginning. This is in Banjo's house, so the save game slots where you get to pick one, and if I remember rightly, when you pick one, it does an amusing animation, and I think there's a random chance you could get something really different. So let's see what happens when I decide to play the one on the bed. Okay. Yeah, so there, so purely by luck, Banjo gets flung out the window, whereas normally he just wakes up kind of groggy and gets up. But we put this kind of hidden extra. Right, so now we're in Grunty's lair, which is the kind of lair of the witch, and if I can try and remember where to go. Players playing it now, I don't think it's going to be that different to how we wanted players to play it at the time. Obviously, games change, but the way players come to a game with no knowledge, and then they kind of build up their knowledge of the game, the characters, what they're capable of doing. It's no real different now. So I'd like to think anyone coming to kind of Banjo now, compared to 15 years ago or so, we'll kind of approached in the same way. You start off as a character, you learn moves, you learn more about the game, learn more about the world, kind of work out what to do.
Right.
I mean, a lot of the levels we actually probably thought quite hard about what we should call them. So I like Treasure Trove Cove or Rusty Bucket Bay. They've got these kind of nice names. With Spiral Mountain, we couldn't work out what to call it because it was just supposed to be a kind of a training ground at the start. It didn't have any iconic features like the boat, or it's on a beach, or it's a swamp, or it's a haunted house. So we couldn't work out what to call it. So in the end, we just looked at it and thought, well, it's got a bit of a mountain with a spiral around it. Let's just call it Spiral Mountain. So then the name kind of stuck. So Banjo goes around here. He learns all his moves off bottles, which is where you kind of start to get exposed to Kazooie and the kind of moves she had. So originally, when we were thinking about the game in its inception, that we had Banjo running around with a backpack, Kazooie wasn't even in the game. It was just Banjo on his own. And we left the backpack on, not that we thought he'd be picking up these items that he put in it, but we just liked
it's a little feature.
It just looked nice, and it was a nice use of colour. So you got the brown of the bear with his yellow shorts and a blue backpack. It just looked nice. But in the early stages of developing the game, I wanted the character to have a double jump. I really liked Mario's wall jump when I played, but I wanted something a bit more freeform, so you could just double jump whenever you like, because I thought it'd give us a lot more freedom of how you go around the levels. So we put this double jump in where Banjo jumped and then jumped again, but he just jumped in mid-air, and it just looked weird. Why is he jumping? It just looks like there's a invisible platform. So I kind of scratched my head a bit and thought, how can we explain away why Banjo's got this double jump? So I think when we were getting really desperate, we just suggested, well,
chuck a bird in the backpack.
No, it wasn't even that. It was just it was like, let's just make some wings appear out of his backpack, as if it was some ability he collected, and they could flap, and then he'd be able to get to where he was. So we put it in. It looked kind of okay. We weren't too worried about why the hell are these wings coming out of the backpack?
Yeah.
And then a bit later on, I wanted Banjo to have a fast run because these worlds are quite big, and Banjo's a bear, and we wanted him to deliberately have some kind of ponderous weight. He's a bear. He wants to feel kind of solid but slow. But that was obviously no good for trying to get around these levels. So I wanted a move which allowed him to speed up. So again, we thought, okay, how could we explain this away? So I thought, okay, can we do the same trick that we did with the wings? Can we have something that comes out of his backpack that kind of aids his travel? So we came up with this idea of some legs coming out of the backpack. That allowed him to run really fast. And it was only then that we thought, hang on a sec, we could probably combine the wings and the legs into a character which completely explains away why all this stuff was done. So Kazooie was born, and there from there it was just like it was such a logical progression of, she can, if it's a bird then she should be able to peck, and maybe eggs should be involved in some way because birds lay eggs. So then we added the eggs and the feathers for flying. So all of it just kind of, once we got Kazooie established as a character in Banjo's backpack, the rest almost wrote itself. I think this was the only level I actually redesigned. It was the first one that was designed. But obviously, as with any game in the early stages, you're trying to get a feel for what works, what doesn't. Like obviously, we were all new to 3D world design, and I'd design all of these worlds on paper. I'd draw them all out in 3D and colour them in, and then give them to our artists and say, "Can you make this?" And then we'd sit there and iterate on it, and we kind of mastered the process on this first level. But then when we designed other levels, they were so much better than this one that when we came back to it, I thought, well, this isn't good enough. All the other levels are so much better. So I actually went back in and kind of redesigned it, but it was only one, and I'm not sure whether I've still got the original design of it. But it was always a balancing act between making the world too big and players getting lost or getting fed up, and making it big enough to feel like it's expansive. Of course, and there's loads of stuff to explore. So again, it was a bit of a learning experience. Some of our early levels they were like completely the wrong size. We'd have ones that were far too small, or we'd put a version of a map in and it was far too big, and we'd play, this is far too big. So I guess all people see. Right, so I haven't got a Mumbo token. If I remember rightly, I think that's another one to do. Let's jump on the one that's not lit, shall we?
It would help if there wasn't any fire on it.
It would. It would help if I could actually get on this pole as well. Really.
See, old games, man. Can't even get on a pole.
No, it's such a long time. This is terrible. We're going to be here for that.
You can do this. Come on.
Yes. I've got to go up again though. Here we go.
Okay.
Yes. It's not even going to be one up here, is there? How many do I need of these things? Probably 5.
Lots of eggs.
So there's a load of eggs, but I was.
But no Mumbo tokens.
I was hoping there was going to be a Mumbo token. Is it behind his? No, it's not behind this thing. So I've obviously probably got to go out in the world and collect them if I remember right.
Yeah.
It's like I've never actually worked on the game. I just that's one. So.
There's one anyway. Yeah. So we got one Mumbo token.
One Mumbo token.
Yes, that's good.
So unfortunately we haven't got 50 hours to play through this, which is probably what it's going to take for me to get off this level.
Well, that's just a little tiny bit of Banjo Kazooie, and obviously it's one of the games that's available on Rare Replay.